episode 62. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another week of Who Gives a Dram. I'm your host, Connor, and we're going back to normal this week. It's about time. Before we get into the show, you guys, make sure you're supporting the show. Subscribe on all platforms. Follow on all social medias. And as always, this episode is brought to you by thegrapevinemedia.com. We're back to normal this week. We're back to normal. The past few weeks, I did something I called COVID Chronicles, where I couldn't smell or taste because I had COVID, or at one point I had COVID. I don't know how long I had it for, but that all subsided, thank God, within a few days, like 3 or 4 days. I honestly, throughout COVID, I've been worried the entire time, like, I didn't want to lose my smell or taste because I love doing this podcast so much. I didn't want to jeopardize that. But anyways, we're here. I took a bunch of vitamins. That I saw Joe Rogan recommend, and I don't know if they worked or not, but I got my taste and smell back in like 3 or 4 days, 5 days at the most. But we still did 2 weeks of COVID Chronicles. Last week, my taste was back, but I hadn't drank enough whiskey to, like, reaccustom my palate to what notes I should be picking up. But I think we're good now. But it doesn't matter because we're doing it. The third episode of 2022. And this was supposed to be my first episode of 2022, this bottle that we're doing today. Because we have an absolute hitter on tap today. An absolute hitter. Stagg Jr. Batch number 17. The last batch of Stagg Jr. of all time. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. But I hope everyone had a good week. I'm actually going to pour this into the glass now. Solid cork pop. Wow. That was the best cork pop in Who Gives a Dram history right there. We're 62 episodes in. That was the best cork pop. Can't do much of this. This is a hitter. And I got to drive after this. So we got a few things on the list today. A few things to talk about. Not much. Not gonna lie. Had a pretty busy weekend. Had a long weekend. Happy MLK Day, everybody. Had a long weekend this weekend, so I should have been more prepared, but I'm not. So I'm kind of rushing today and getting this episode out for Wednesday at 7:15 here, Tuesday night. So pretty, we're pushing these podcasts out kind of like right after we record them, basically. Thankfully, I don't edit. If I did edit, then I would be in trouble. But I hope everyone had a great week. Not much has happened. Some NFL playoff football. I mean, kind of. Oh, this is what I want to talk about. So, everyone assumes that because I'm from New England, I'm a Patriots fan, and I get the assumption. Most people that I know are Patriots fans. I'm not. I am a proud New York Giants fan, and I will be till the day I die. Being a Giants fan was great like 15 years ago when we were winning Super Bowls. Now it's just embarrassing. But regardless, I'm not a Patriots fan. However, I do respect the hell out of Bill Belichick, and I think Mac Jones has had a fantastic season. And admittedly, to see a Pats versus Bucks Super Bowl this year would be, it doesn't get more perfect than that. It would break every single viewership record the Super Bowl has ever had. And I like to see stuff like that. I like to see spectacles, which is why I'm now rooting for Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl, because I kind of just want him to get as many Super Bowls as he can get and then retire. And it's like, okay, that guy's the greatest. It's a consensus. No one ever beat him, and we can stop his GOAT talk because he is the GOAT. But the fact that the Bills, so I saw the score of the Bills game, and I forgot what it was exactly. It's like 42-7 or I don't know, but every single drive of the game, the Bills scored a touchdown. That's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. Every time they got the ball, they scored a touchdown. Now, I don't know if there's got to be a massive overhaul in the New England defense. I don't read too much into football nowadays. I'm not balls deep in it like I was, but something's got to happen there in New England. Something's got to happen. But yeah, that's we did that this weekend. And that's really it. It's kind of a boring week, a busy week, busy with a lot of things, but kind of a boring week. Not much happening. I rewatched The Eternals on Disney Plus. I thought I was gonna like it more the second time. It was the same. I mean, it's kind of a boring movie. My dad hated it, which is hilarious, and didn't really have any interest in it. So I finished my rewatch of Daredevil. I'm consensively putting that into my top 5 shows of all time, and it's not even close. Top 5 shows of all time. Top 5 MCU. No. It's the best MCU show of all time. It's in the top 5 television shows of all time. I still got to do an episode where I'm doing top 5 shows and top 5 movies or top 10 movies. That'd be fun. Rewatched Daredevil, loved it. I mean, one of the most fulfilling season enders, but ended up being series endings of all time. I mean, the way he's beating up on Kingpin at the end, it's so fake. Like, the punches are so fake, and I don't know if Charlie Cox is doing a bad job pulling his punches, or if Kingpin is doing a bad job selling the punches, or a combination of both. But someone's fucking up on that. And that got me to rewatch the Daredevil scene in Spider-Man No Way Home, because that was my favorite scene, and I'm sticking by that still. That Daredevil's 1-minute cameo or 30-second cameo in No Way Home was my favorite scene in Spider-Man No Way Home. What else did we watch this week? We watched Peacemaker came out, and Peacemaker was one of those shows where it's like I wasn't too excited for it as time went on, because like I love John Cena. It's one of my favorites, but I don't know. It's just like I felt like there was probably better shows coming out. I wasn't sure. I forgot James Gunn is directing it, and that kind of changes everything, or at least he wrote it. And you can tell it's a James Gunn show because I've only watched episode 1 so far, but everything I gathered from episode 1, this show is hilarious. And John Cena in the show, I mean, you basically see him banging a chick. He's basically doing the horizontal mambo on camera. He's basically Johnny Sins with hair. If only this was when he was bald. That was hilarious to me. Seeing John Cena just going to town on a chick, almost fully nude. I mean, you saw everything except for the man's wiener, to use an anatomical term. Didn't think I'd ever say the word wiener on my podcast, but here we are. Anyways, that show was fantastic. Episode 1. I can't wait to watch episodes 2 and 3 and 4 by the time this comes out in a few hours. Book of Boba Fett episode 3 was not good at all. Definitely the worst episode of any Star Wars show I've ever seen. That's Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. It sucked. Bad episode. Gotta watch it. It's a little bit of filler. It was cool to see the Hutts give Boba Fett back that cave troll or whatever that they keep in the dungeon down there. And it was cool to see the black Wookiee, the bounty hunter Wookiee. Forgot his name, starts with a K. But cool to see him again. They let him go. He's definitely coming back into the show without a doubt. He's probably going to help Boba Fett, and he's too cool of a character to like just kill him. He's like I don't know. I like him more than Chewbacca. Chewbacca was always kind of boring to me, but this guy is sweet, and he has like big shoulder pads on with spikes on him, like the Road Warriors tag team back in the day. I've been told it always looks like I'm wearing a set of shoulder pads because my shoulders are so broad, but that's neither here nor there. Drink some water. A lot of like small things happen. I didn't write any notes. I don't know if that's obvious. This might be a bad episode, you guys. I'm sorry. But you know what they say. Consistency is key. I'm not missing a week for the rest of my life. Had a few fun episodes drop with Bourbon with Friends this past week. If you guys haven't watched them or listened to them, we came out with our Bourbon Across America episodes 1 and 2. So number 1 was with Tony. Tony is, oh man, Tony's a hoot. Tony, if you're listening to this, man, you're one of my favorites. Me and Paul, we wanted the Tony episode to be number 1 just because we had so much fun recording it. And Tony has his own podcast, and he has his own Get Up, Barrel Proof Baseball, I think it is. If that's not it, I'm sorry. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, I listened to it, too. I should know it. But that was a great episode. That was a hilarious episode. I got to have Tony on. I'm going to have Tony on the podcast. I'm going to hit him up. He'll be on in the next few weeks. So, Tony, I'm inviting you on, but I'm also making you come on, and you can't say no. Top 10 mustache of all time Tony has right now. Then we had Danielle come on for episode 2 of that was released yesterday, so 2 days ago at this point, of Bourbon Across America number 2. Danielle is Coffee Black Whiskey Neat on Instagram, and she's like one of the first people I followed ever on Instagram, so it's kind of like having a celebrity on, and she's got a huge following, and she actually did the official tasting notes for Stellum Bourbon and Rye, which is crazy to me because we've done Stellum on the show with Whiskey Morgue. Shout out Mike, Whiskey Morgue. Go check out that episode if you haven't. That's a fantastic episode. Like 3/4 of my downloads on that episode came from Brampton, Canada, or wherever it is, so shout out to all Whiskey Morgue fans in that Canada region. Canada, even though Canada only has 50 people at the most, and their country animal, their national animal is a beaver. But we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. Another cool thing about Peacemaker is he's got a sidekick, and it's a bald eagle, and his name's Eagly. It's original. But we had Danielle on episode 2, Bourbon Across America, and that was a great episode. So if you haven't checked those out, go over to Bourbon with Friends on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever. Check those out. We got 2 episodes coming out per week. And right now, as we speak, Paul is in Scotland, and I'm not. So I am pretty bummed about that. And he's been recording some podcasts and getting some cool content in, and it's tough for me because he is on a very different time frame than I am. So, but I don't know. I want to go to Scotland so badly. I will go to Scotland very soon. All my Scottish fans out there, I don't know if there's any, but there's definitely some people who listen in Scotland. I know there are. I've seen it come up on my podcast tracker thing. How long are we, man? How many minutes have we done? 13 minutes. This is gonna be a doozy. Let's talk about this stag a little bit, why don't we? Story time. How did I get this stag? So Stagg Jr was one of... I thought about putting Stagg Jr as my find of the year for 2021. I replaced it with, ultimately was Kale's E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. But for me, it was my Larceny Barrel Proof, and I by the way, look what your boy got. If you're watching the YouTube video, check out what I picked up the other day. I think I posted on Instagram. Larceny Barrel Proof C921. $49.99. Your boy was pumped. But how the hell did I find this stag, and where did I find this stag? I had someone text me. I had a fellow listener of the show text me. She works at a liquor store, and she texted me that she said, "Hey, I had this bourbon come in," and texted me a picture of this. I was like, "What the hell? How much? $55? I'll be down yesterday." So I went down and picked it up, and I just sat in my truck. And listen, I'm not one. I'm starting to not really enjoy going out whiskey hunting anymore. Like every once in a blue moon, I'll hit up a run of stores and I'll see. But I mean, I like going to the people that I like to do business with. And speaking of the people I like to do business with, shout out to Ron, Tyler, all the guys down at Wyoming Package Store. Gave me a good deal on this sweet sweatshirt. I've been wearing it like every single day. It's so comfortable and it's camo. And I love it. So, Wyoming Package Store. They are the best whiskey. They're the best package store they're the best package store I've ever been to. I'm going to put it that way. I've been to a lot. And they do the best job. And they're the best people. So, shout out to you guys. Ron, Tyler, the rest of the crew down there. You guys are the best. Anyways, what I was saying was I'm not like one of those guys that will like, I don't like being one of those guys anymore that goes out everywhere looking for bottles. I like to do business with the people I like to do business with. Do I still go into other stores and check just to see? Yes. Did Kale do that 2 weeks ago and find a bottle of Jack Daniel's 10-year for $50? Sure did. Am I going to steal it on the podcast and say it's mine? Sure am. But regardless, I am a strong believer in doing business with the people that you enjoy, and that's just what I do. So I don't give my business to many people other than Ron, but a fellow listener who gives a dram works at a package store fairly close to me, and she texted me the picture, and I went and picked it up, and I just looked at it in my truck, and I was like, it's been a long time since I've even drank you. And now we have one. And now my brother has 2 more. So I got 3 bottles of Stagg. Not for sale. But I'm happy I have Stagg. It's one of those bottles that you see it, your heart skips a beat. Just like Weller. We were talking about that with Weller Special Reserve on a review episode. Your heart skips a beat when you drink or when you see an allocated whiskey on the shelf. And my heart is kind of going more to craft distilleries now, and maybe single barrel picks or just out of the ordinary. I got a 3-cord single barrel pick from Ron in Wyoming. We have a Buffalo Trace pick coming at Wyoming. We have a Elijah Craig barrel proof pick coming at Wyoming. There's a lot of things coming to Wyoming, and that's always exciting. That's especially when you're dealing with someone who knows a whiskey palate like Ron. But anyways, every time you see one of those bourbons on the shelf, even if it's for way overpriced, your heart skips a beat a little bit. So I went from finding 1 bottle of Stagg probably, I don't know, a month ago to a week after my brother had 2 of them. My brother had 2 of them, I'll tell you this, and he's going to come on the show here soon for Whiskey with Kin 6 or 7. He found a Stagg at our spot, and then the next spot he went to was on our way home, and he stopped in, saw another Stagg sitting on the top shelf, asked, "Hey, you selling that Stagg?" "Yeah." "How much?" $50. So this kid, Kale's a fiend when it comes to finding whiskey. I'll give that to the kid. I let him spend the money because all I got to do is review it, and I'm allowed to drink whenever I want anyway. So, that's the story behind the Stagg Junior, and it's a great. I mean, I've had a little bit of it, as you can see. It's a great bottle. Going on the bottle itself, I mean, just a classic. And the last Stagg Junior bottle of all time. And what I mean by that is, and we've talked about this on the podcast a little bit, Stagg Junior is being eliminated from the Stagg name. So it's going to go Stagg and then George T. Stagg. So the Stagg Junior that's right there underneath or in the middle of the second G, that's going away. Batch 17 is the last Stagg batch that's going to have the junior moniker. And I think I've talked about this on the show a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's definitely a marketing gimmick to make the whiskey, I think, seem more prestigious without having that junior name, the junior symbol, just because it makes it seem like maybe a whiskey that doesn't deserve all the hype it gets. I think any whiskey drinker knows that this is one of the best bottles out there. It's kind of like going from a boy to a man, maybe, and that's kind of representing how much of a stride the Stagg Junior name has taken within the years. I know it's always been known as one of the best barrel proof bourbons, especially at the price when you can find it. This is a $50 bottle, $50 to $60 MSRP. That's gonna play into my score of this, but I've only seen this in the wild for $250 plus. So you kind of got to weigh both options here when you're rating it. But I don't necessarily agree with the junior label coming off. I think it's kind of cool. I've always liked saying Stagg Junior. And I'm going to miss it, man. I'm going to miss it. I'm definitely going to keep this bottle and use it for something. I don't know, but the Stagg Junior in it is cool, and I'm sure Stagg Junior bottles will go for hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars now on the secondary market because they're the last ones to say Stagg Junior. But let's talk about the actual batch number here. Let's get into the review. We've talked about everything else. Let's get into the review. Here on the show, a Stagg Junior Batch 17. It is the second batch of 2021. Stagg releases 2 barrel-proof batches every single year. This is 64.35% alcohol by volume or 128.7 proof. Barrel-proof unfiltered. It's a hitter. It's hot and it's tasty. Obviously a product of Buffalo Trace Distillery, the little brother of George T. Stagg, which is included in the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection every single year. Stagg Junior to me is one of those bourbons that represents a very hearty, bold, barrel-proof bourbon. Not that there are barrel-proof bourbons that don't represent that, but every review that I've read or watched, or even myself experience, bold flavors, brash, big bravado flavors in this, dark. I haven't had any in a while, so I'm excited just to kind of see if that holds true. But like I said, this is the fall 2021 release, the summer 2021 release, batch 16, universally loved, 130.9 proof. So this is a few proof points lower. Some other barrel proof releases every year that this can get, compared to Larceny barrel proof. Elijah Craig barrel proof is probably the number one comparable barrel proof release that is readily available on the market. Wild Turkey Rare Breed's another good one that is a readily available barrel proof bourbon that might be a good replacement for this if you can't find it. This is the Buffalo Trace low rye mash bill, so under 10% rye. It's mash bill number 1, so it's the same mash bill as Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, etc. There's no age statement on this whiskey. They do say that it's around a blend of 8-year-old bourbons, however. And that's kind of the quick facts about Stagg Junior in terms of the statistics here. I don't really know the history behind it, and I'm not a history show, so we're not going to do it. But I want to get into the nose here. Nice dark amber color, very not even coppery, just kind of like a dark molasses brown. Is what it looks like here in the glass. And yeah, those bold flavors come right out. First thing, hits you right in the nose with a bunch of baking spice. It doesn't the spice. I mean the nose is bold and the nose is there. It's a little toned down. That could be my. That could be me. You know, not being fully recovered. And I don't know if it was on my podcast, or I don't know if it was on this podcast or Bourbon with Friends, where I proved that I couldn't smell anything because I opened up this bottle and I took a big old sniff right in the bottle, and I didn't even I didn't even flinch. So that's how you know it's bad. Yeah, kind of running down the glass, nice, very viscous. I'm getting, oh man, that's really good. I'm getting a lot of butterscotch, dark notes in there, dark fruits, kind of like a not like a port, but like a sweet raisin type of thing, maybe like a raisin bread or a raisin custard or something. Lots of oak in there, lots and lots and lots of oak, but nothing again, nothing overpowering. Cherry on there like nobody's business. But mixing that with like a raisin, it's like a cherry raisin type of mixture to it, because I do get a more backwards dark fruit on there. The more I give it a swirly poo though, it is opening up with the cherry. And then on the back ends of the nose, a nice cinnamon, nice cinnamon. I get the baking spice more on the front rather than the cinnamon, and I mean like right on the front. And then it also has the standard vanilla notes in there. Oh man, it just smells. Oh, the smell's ready. It just smells ready to rock and roll, and that's what we're gonna do here right now. Welcome to another Sippy Poo, the first Sippy Poo of Who Gives a Dram 2020. I'm happy. We're going to review this. Stagg Jr, Batch 17. Cheers, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm shaking with excitement right now. Oh, man. Right off the bat, big leather. There's leather that's coming out. That's the first thing I get. More cherry, maybe like a darker cherry. I'm not really getting that raisin that I got. Like a raisin bread. Man, leather and cherry leather. If they made a car scent of cherry leather, it would smell like this tastes. Or this would taste like it smells, vice versa. Big vanilla and oak notes on there. Wow, it coats the mouth like it just coats the mouth well. And on it, am I getting a little mint? Oh, the oak is just crazy cinnamon, crazy. It doesn't drink like a near 130 proofer. Now it's hot. Don't get me wrong. My eyes are watering up a little bit, but it's not overpowering. That's for damn sure. I am getting a little mint, a little like of that mint spice. It's not minty like a piece of gum mint. It's minty like how when you mint is spicy, and there's no other way. I can't describe how it is, but you know what I'm talking about. It's spicy. I'm getting a lot of that on this. I'm getting big leather notes. I'm getting big cherry notes. I'm getting the vanilla and oak as always, but that minty freshness is in there too. Very, very nice touch to this. It has zero evidence of any of its proof. This is drinking like a hotter 115er. This is drinking like on the level of like Old Forester 1920. But not as much of that rye spice. It's more of like a minty spice with big cherry leather and vanilla in there. Oh, man. Now, I will say this. I might catch a little flack on this. On the end, I'm getting a bit more of like that cinnamon spice coming out on the end. Here, I got the no age statement, blah, blah, blah. I kind of want to see how this holds up if I let it sit for a bit. And I have let it sit for a bit, but really let it open up a few months, really, of letting it oxidize in the glass. I like this. I like the nose more than I like the palate. And I think it's because of that mint. Now the mint is, again, it's defining, it's bold, it's there, and it's not bad, but it's not exactly what I like. It provides a little bit of like a cool freshness to it, kind of like when you're chewing gum and you breathe in and it's really cold. That's kind of the experience in this glass right now. Mix that with big dark cherry leather vanilla notes, and that's what you get with this Stagg Junior Batch 17. That being said, it's not up my alley, but this is good. I'm not going to say this is not good. This is terrific. And Stagg Junior is Stagg Junior. It's I feel like a lot of people probably like this because it's Stagg Junior. It's hard to get. It's kind of a flex. I got a Stagg Junior. Whether you paid $50 or $250, it's a flex. People are kind of tailored to like it. Now, that's not hating on Stagg Junior. This is a phenomenal dram. But if I'm being completely honest with myself, would I rather have Larceny barrel proof? Elijah Craig B520? It's up there. This Stagg, listen, this is it. I'd be silly not to put this in the top 3 barrel proofs. At the very, very most, top 5. At the very, very most, I'm almost confident it's top 3. For me right now, and I might be a little bad because I still, I'm still recovering maybe from my taste and my spell, so maybe we need to revisit this. But from what I can tell, this is a very bold, very, very prominent barrel proof whiskey that at retail is one of the best buys you can get in the world. At retail. And I wish I could only score that based on retail, but I have to include availability. And the fact of the matter is this. You can't find Stagg Junior anywhere, for the most part, for retail. You kind of have to know a guy. You have to go at the right time. You have to win a lottery. You have to buy a barrel pick with it. And I'm not blaming anybody, but that's just the fact of the matter. That's real life. Real life, this is going for at least $200, at the very least. Maybe in some instances you find it for $150 and you think that's a deal. No, I would say for the majority of the time, the Stagg Junior, Batch 17 or regardless, is going for $200 to $250. And that puts me in a predicament of how I'm going to rate this. Oh, nice. A little bit of brown sugar, too, on the palate there. Just phenomenal notes. I'm going to rate this based on the price, but the availability. I'm going to rate this as a $50 to $60 MSRP, but I'm also going to include availability in there. Now, that being said, all in all, from presentation to color to nose, palate, finish, everything in between, this is about as good of a dram you're going to find anywhere. The boldness of the character, the way it coats your mouth, the way it stays with you throughout the entire process, from the nose to the palate to the finish, the way it gives you that Kentucky hug, as we all call it, with those big leather notes, those big oak notes, huge cherry notes, and then the little subtleties that are still bold in their own way. I don't know how they do it there at Buffalo Trace Distillery. with the cinnamon and the vanillas and the mint, like we were just talking about, and the baking spices and that raisin. I mean, there's a lot going on here, but it's very harmonious. It comes together very beautifully. And as a $50 to $60 bourbon, I mean, if you could find this, even if it was like Blanton's, where you could find it at a solid amount of places if you look hard enough, but if this was still available, I mean, if this was in every store, I mean, easy 9.5, if not higher. But that's the fact of the matter is I've seen this a few times in my over a year of visiting liquor stores just to look for whiskey. But I'd be a very, very foolish man to give this under a 9.0. With that being said, I'm going to give this Stagg Jr Batch 17. I'm going to give it a 9.3. Stamp it. The reason behind that is mainly because of the juice. It's one of the best. I don't know much of better. I could face this bottle in a night. I would die, but I could face it in a night if it was readily available. But it's not readily available, and you have to take that into consideration. But I mean, I've never had another batch of Stagg Junior, so I can't play off what I've tasted in the past. I've tasted a previous batch one other time. I have no idea. I don't remember it at all. But if they're anything like this or better, I can't even imagine how good they are. This as a product is better than Larceny Barrel Proof. I just personally enjoy Larceny Barrel Proof more. And I actually see Stagg Jr. in more places than I see Larceny Barrel Proof, funny enough. I mean, I've never seen Larceny Barrel Proof. I've seen this a handful of times. It just goes for $250. I'm happy with that score, though, 9.3. I'm happy with that 9.3. This is great. I mean, this is one of the best I've had on the show. It's right up there with the best Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batches. It's right up there with Larceny Barrel Proof. And I'd be very, very intrigued to have a barrel proof blind test. Maybe we'll do that very soon. But that is my calling there to end this podcast. 37 minutes, not terrible, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was fun. I'm glad that we can drink whiskey together again. You know where to find me: Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you're leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere. Every single place, make sure you're subscribed. YouTube, subscribe and like the videos on there. Leave a comment for me if you want. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Who gives a Dram? And make sure you're following everything Bourbon with Friends as well. Bourbon with Friends everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Check us out on all podcast platforms. We're available everywhere. 2 episodes a week with Bourbon with Friends. 1 episode a week with Who Gives a Dram. Your boy's releasing content this year. That's what we're doing, and a lot of cool things down the pipe we're coming with. So, as I do every single week, I'm gonna let my buddy Nick Bossy play me out. What Happened to Country. Available on all platforms, and as always, whiskey's the water of life. So let's start living. I'll catch you guys next week.
My hands are tired from paying my bills, staring at a bottle, I'm aiming to kill. Weeks passing by and the seasons keep changing. I'm playing my song, trying to make me a name. People say as they walk out the bar, the kid's gone places, maybe even a star. They don't play country down in Nashville today. Just the same chord progression with nothing to say. What happened to country? 3 chords and the truth. And who's gonna step up and fill their big shoes? Writing songs about outlaws, singing all night, and songs that'll make a grown man cry. They use auto-tune now down on Music Row. True country died there a long time ago. No, they don't play Waylon on the boulevard, but they'll do anything to be rock stars. What happened to country? 3 chords and the truth. And who's gonna step up and fill their big shoes? Writing songs about outlaws, singing all night, and songs that'll make a grown man cry. But I do believe there is hope for us yet, 'cause there's millions of people who cannot forget the way Johnny Cash brought a tear to their eyes, or how Marty Robbins painted Texas skies. What happened to country? 3 chords and the truth. And who's gonna step up and fill their big shoes? Writing songs about outlaws, singing all night, and songs that'll make a grown man cry. A grown man cry. A grown man cry. I won't let country die.